Hello, my wonderful friends. Teresa Lusk here. You are watching The Teresa Lusk Show, and I have my wonderful friend, Tammy Warren. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You know, I've had Tammy Warren on the show before, and, you know, she really inspired me. She is one of the founders of McKinney Values PAC, but she's just an amazing woman. You're a go-getter. And you know what we're celebrating this March of 2024?
What?
Women's History Month.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? We've got to have a phenomenal woman come on the show today. And she's humble, guys. She's not going to be like, yes, I am amazing, but I'll tell you she's amazing. Okay. And one of the latest things that she was involved in, she was actually a campaign. Is it a campaign manager or consultant?
Campaign manager.
Campaign manager. What in the world? How did you end up doing that? You've been a homemaker before. You've got this kind of humble life, and then you get thrown into politics. Tell us a little bit about that, because there are people who are watching right now. There are women watching as we do this in just celebration of Women's History Month who need to hear your story, but not just women. Not just women, because your story can inspire a man, a woman, but you have some awesome things. So you started kind of just being a wife, a mom, what?
Yeah, wife and mom. I didn't get into politics. I think I may have told you last time until 4 years ago when I got in a fight with the mayor. And the thing about me is if I'm in something, I throw myself into it 100%. So I started getting involved in clubs and getting to know people around town, getting involved in the county GOP, started McKinney Values PAC. And through all that, I worked with Colin Strong before, which is a great organization. But through all that, I got really good at block walking. I got involved in quite a lot of campaigns. And so Chuck Branch reached out to me and asked if I would help him run his campaign for Texas State House. Mm-hmm. And at first I said no, because I've never done it before. But then when he asked again, I said, why not? So he has experience running campaigns, and so he knew what to do, and he just kind of told me what to do, and I have some experience. So together, I think we did a good job. Although the results weren't what we wanted, I think we did pretty well.
Well, there you go, being humble again. She's like, I didn't have the experience, but he told me what to do. Listen, I've sat with this woman. She's a lot more brave and bold than you would realize. I love what you said, though, Tammy. You already have something really good that our audience can take away. And you said, he asked me the first time and I said no. He asked twice and I said, why not? Mm-hmm. I love that. Look, that's an inspirational a principle really to take with you, right? Like, I think a lot of women struggle with confidence. I was actually listening to an audiobook the other day by an amazing woman. You probably know who she is, Dana Perino. Mm-hmm. And she was talking about how men don't ever ask themselves twice if they're qualified for something. They just go, if I have one of the qualifications, they consider themselves qualified, but the woman will usually count down to see how many of those she has. Wow. So I know, right? Like, this is a great lesson. Mm-hmm. So you started running this campaign, and I'm going to give you your own credit for that. I know Chuck is great because I've met Chuck. I actually interviewed Chuck. Mm-hmm. But let's be real. You put in a whole lot of footwork, hours. What was that like? What was it like?
It was 24/7. I missed my grandson's birthday party which was really sad. Mm-hmm. But I dedicated myself to it. Mm-hmm. And whatever Chuck asked me to do, I did. I knew that we had to get volunteers. I knew that we had a lot of work we had to do, a lot of block walking, a lot of raising money, a lot of events. I mean, it's just, you know, it's 24/7. You got to get your message out. So it was all consuming. It's not something I think I can do again, just because I don't do it full time. Mm-hmm. Other people who can do it full time, we have friends that do that, manage campaigns. They can do that. I can't. I have a full time job. Sure.
That's okay, though. You learned something, and I think that were there some skills and giftings that you figured out you had? Because I know you've done a whole lot of what you just mentioned. You just did it you weren't the main campaign manager, right? You were a volunteer and helping other people?
I was the main campaign manager.
This time, yes. But before, you've done it for other people?
Before, when I've worked for Colin Strong, I helped with block walking.
Okay.
In other campaigns, I've just helped wherever I can help. Organizing and that. Sure. The main skill that I have that God's gifted me with is the gift of administration.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
So organization, rallying people, I can see a roadmap of what needs to be done and how to get there.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's my skill is we need to get from A to B. How are we going to do it? And I set goals and we meet goals along the way.
And you hear she's quick to say, and I'm not looking to do it again. Because so in case somebody's looking to hire a campaign manager, she's not looking for hire. Not right now anyway. You know, this is a season. I really believe that sometimes the Lord lets you nibble on some things that you'll actually be doing in the future. Don't you believe that? Like there's something to that.
I did learn from it. And whatever God has me to do next, I know he'll equip me and I know he'll call me and I know he'll give me the skills I need to do that.
So you mentioned how you missed your grandbaby's birthday, and I was listening to a political person actually the other day, and they were talking about how if you're going to run, be sure your family has 100% support because it is brutal and cruel to them if you're not. How true is that? Like, how did you see that play out? Yeah.
Well, my family supports me, so my son and his wife understood, and I'll make it up to them. I mean, I'll add an extra birthday in there somewhere.
There you go.
My family's very, very supportive, but since my husband and I do a lot of things together, yes, it is brutal and it is cruel, and you have to develop a thick skin. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. It's a calling, and you just have to put a smile on your face, and you have to move forward. And I say that all the time: just keep moving forward.
Yeah, you know. You talked about how, you have to have thick skin. First of all, let's talk about the thick skin. I meet a lot of people, and I notice that regardless on this part of whether it's men or women, but definitely women, they have a hard time with just brushing things off. Would you say that you've seen the difference, especially with this political, because it's got to be brutal. It's politics. Like, how hard was it? And what did you do, without even mentioning other people or whatever, what did you do to help yourself reset to that place where you can go, you know what? I'm Tammy Warren. I'm called by God to do this. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, no matter what the punches look like. How did you deal with that?
Well, I've been doing this about 4 years now, and I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago when I started. 4 years ago, I was angry, and I fought everybody. And so if anybody said anything to me, I'd fight back. You know, I'd have to prove myself, and I'd have to stand up for myself. I don't do that anymore. My thing now is I move forward. Whatever God tells me to do, I do, and I focus on the truth. And if people are out there spreading lies and saying whatever it doesn't bother me because it's not true. So if I live my life every day as a truthful person, an honest person, put my best foot forward, it doesn't bother me anymore.
Okay, but how do you get there? I know how I got there, but how do you get there? How do you get there? What were your steps like? Because you said I was an angry woman. Okay, I don't know that you have to be angry to be one who gets their feelings hurt pretty quickly or feels defeated when accusations come, whatever, in the political realm. So what do you think helped you?
For me, I put a smile on my face. I try to be kind to others. I stay away from people who are negative and nasty. I don't even want to be around that anymore. I turn off social media when I need to.
Amen to that.
If people are being nasty on social media, I ignore it. I try very hard not to fight back, and if I do answer, I try to do it tactfully. But quite honestly, and I hate to say this, but you just have to separate yourself from a lot of people. That I've lost a lot of friends, and it's sad and tragic, but they're not good people.
I think it's good to hear you say that, though, because I've definitely had some encounters in the political, even just as I grow in the show, and just the love for the natural love for politics, you know. And I've observed a lot of that, and I quickly, like I wasted no time figuring out, oh, you need to stay away from most people, to be honest with you. And then I thought, well, can you get something done doing that? And the answer is still yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, and you get a lot more done when you get rid of the negative baggage. When you're around all these people that are pulling you down and are negative and not good people, those are usually people that complain a lot and they don't do anything positive for the world. I like to be around people that are actually doing good things for the world and moving forward.
That's right.
And those are the kind of people that usually won't be ugly to you. And so that's what I do. And yes, you can get things done with the right people around you.
But I have learned, though, Tammy, that even when when some people are still doing something for the world, they can still be unkind and whatever. So but the majority of people who are focused on what did God call me to do, they're not caught up with the bunches, right? They're not
right. And when people are unkind, just be kind back, put a smile on your face, nod and give them a hug and act like they're your best friend, and
a whole hug. You
can give a side hug, but I mean, we can still be kind to people.
Absolutely.
We don't have to pay nasty for nasty. We can be kind and be nice and put a smile on our face and realize maybe they're not with me this campaign season, but next campaign season maybe they will. Maybe we will agree on the person next time.
Well, isn't that politics?
That's politics.
I watch the presidential debates and everything. You watch how even when they're running for the main seat and everything, and you see like with Marco Rubio and President Trump, and you watch that, and then all of a sudden they're like supporting each other. I'm like,
but you know what? It's different in local politics because we all know each other, right? We all live in the same town.
Yeah.
So I think it's even more important in local politics that somehow we stay kind and friendly and plug your candidate, say why you want your candidate to win, but you don't have to bash the other candidate.
Yeah, and I was wondering how effective that is, because I actually have taken some training regarding campaign, and they talk about the power of negative campaigning and negative ads. I do too, but I just think, wow, like it is part of the playbook according to those who are pushing the campaign training.
So here's what I've learned. So you need a positive message. You need a positive message about here's what I bring to the table, here's why you should vote for me, or here's why you should vote for my candidate. But that only goes so far. People only get off the couch if they're angry. Now, most people will go vote on a presidential campaign.
For sure.
But to get people off the couch, whether it's a bond issue or a runoff or a local or something smaller like that, they have to be angry.
That makes sense.
And I don't like that part of it. And maybe that's why I don't win elections. Because I just don't like the negative, nasty bashing. Because I was part of it for so long. And I don't know. I don't know how you get around that, because that's not me.
I just think it's a decision, and it's a person by person. I think as politics have become so polarizing, I think people begin to make decisions in their heart. Like you're an example of it. I'm an example of it. Now I am opinionated, but to go out there and just fight with people, I just don't know who has the energy or the time, right? So I think it happens, but hopefully things will start reversing, at least in local politics. I don't know. I just know.
Probably not, because what I've seen
when humanity's involved, it's a no.
I've seen every campaign season we have new people involved, right? And usually the new people are the angry people, like I was 4 years ago.
Oh,
usually the new people come out swinging bats. They're angry. They're mad. They hate your candidate because of this, that, or the other. And it took me 4 years to get to where I am, to where I can be at the polls and actually get along with people instead of being hateful and ugly, because I was so passionate. And so I'm at the place I'm at, and
yeah. So what is the best thing that came out of this campaign that you ran?
For me
personally.
For me personally was being able to lay my head down every night on my pillow, knowing that I honored the Lord. And that sounds really silly, but in a campaign, like I said, we did not go negative. And I'm so proud of Chuck 100%. And myself and the team. We did not go negative. We didn't win, and that's okay, because I'm very, very proud of the race we won. It was clean. It was well done. It was above board. And maybe in politics, maybe you got to be willing to get in the mud, but I just don't know if I'm willing to do that anymore.
Hey, and that's okay. I mean, you're the one that has to answer for your behaviors, your choices, and the way that you do things.
Right.
You have to answer to that no matter what.
And this was the least stressful campaign I have ever been involved in. And it was such
because
a joy.
You didn't choose to be.
Well, the person that was running also didn't choose to be that way. He was a godly man. Chuck is a very godly man.
Oh, okay, I see.
And he started each day in prayer.
Sure.
And I was very careful to start each day in the Word as well. And that's how we ran our day. We just did our thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how effective it was at winning a campaign, but for me, it was the best campaign I was ever a part of, just because it was so positive.
Well, when we look at things in the sense of did I win or did I not, especially with something like this, which don't get me wrong, if I would have been running a campaign, I want to win, right? I'm not going to spend all that time and money and effort and tears and fight for nothing. However, I think that something happens in the profound places of your being, of your person. Like there's character correction, there's having to really hang on to the Lord because you're being punched at, and these are real people. It's not like it's just some troll who's on social media saying something crazy, which that happens too, but clearly it's a real person, right? So I think that that's one of the exciting things that happens. What do you think you inspired people to do? Now, don't be too humble on this, Tammy Warren. Like, truly, people are watching you. What are some of the things that you've heard people say? If you won't base it on your own, what do you think people would have said, or what do you think they would say?
I don't know. I know that they know I work hard. I mean, I walked over 2,000 homes.
Wow.
That's a lot of block walking.
Wow.
I know that they know I tried to be positive. I don't know, because I don't know how other people perceive me and perceive what I did. But I think for the most part, people think we ran a clean campaign. Good. But again, I don't know, Teresa.
Now listen, she is actually doing exactly what women do. You see how we get all reserved about ourselves? A man would have laid it out, baby. He'd have said, well, let me tell you what I did. I walked 2,000 homes. Let me tell you. Most people don't
let me tell you what I did.
Exactly. Here we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Let me tell you what I did. I walked 2,000 homes. I got up every day. I called volunteers till the sun went down every night. Wow. Because Chuck would say, okay, Tammy, we need 10 more volunteers by 10 o'clock tonight. I get on the phone. Wow. I call.
I remember, because I got some of your calls and texts.
And he would push me to do more and do more and do
wow.
more. Which is a good thing.
That's
I needed
awesome.
to do that. You know, let's get more volunteers. What's it going to take to get this done? What's it going to take to get this done? And he was constantly pushing me. So I learned how to be pushed and how to achieve goals that I didn't even set for myself, that he set for me.
Right.
And so just putting my nose down and doing them. And my husband allowed me to just do that in my study and just get it done. Make the phone calls, do the emails, do the graphics, whatever it was we needed to do. I am proud of myself. I am.
Good.
I ran a good campaign.
Amen, girl.
Thank you.
That's what you need to be saying. Amen to that. And that's what I'm talking about. Women, like, we have got to learn to count what we've done. I didn't say brag, but you have to count. You know, one day I was, we had another office, which was in McKinney. We're now in the city of Allen. And there, I was walking out. This was when, this was years ago, actually. It was my very first office that I'd ever had. And I heard the Lord say to me, I was getting in my car and I heard him say to me, Teresa, look up. And I'm sitting outside of the building. The building was beautiful, by the way, you know. And I'm looking up and he said to me, if you don't learn how to count what I've done through you, you'll never believe me for more. Just like that. And I said, oh my gosh, Lord, you're right. Because I'm such a doer. Even my assistant will tell you, she used to tell me this. You don't stop to count. You don't stop. She didn't use the word count, but she would say, you don't stop to acknowledge. She's like, it's like you've done a million things, but you act like you've done nothing. And it wasn't it wasn't healthy feedback, you understand? It wasn't like she was, I'm so proud of you. It was more like, you don't have a clue how to stop and give God the acknowledgement for every single thing he's using you to do. That's not me feeling full of myself. It's saying, God, thank you that I was able to do this. So I started telling him, you know what? We raised 1,500 books and we sent them out fully funded to Africa.
Oh, wow.
For a library. And then I started just going and I started counting to the Lord everything we did that year.
Wow.
Amen to that.
Okay,
right.
I need to do that.
That's what I'm talking about.
I need to do that.
If we don't count what he's done through us, how can we believe him for more? Because if you're counting, that means, Lord, you were able to do this, this, and this, and that. So I got to count. You go, oh, if the Lord can do that, which was going to bring me to my next question with you. Because you said Chuck, who you were representing, he would tell you, he would push you for more. And I would love to hear about where Tammy Warren was when you started and how stretched you are. Because just when you think you couldn't do it one more day, or you couldn't stretch more one more day. I remember complaining about my hard seasons in life, and I would say, I can't take this anymore, not one more day. And the next day it would only get worse, and then worse and worse, and I was like, I need to quit saying this.
Well, I never wanted, I was never at the point where I didn't want to keep doing it, right? It was, I enjoyed it, it was fun and everything. But the stretch, at the beginning, I'm a type A personality, and I can do everything myself, right?
That's right.
That's where I was at the beginning. I can do it all myself. And then by the end of it, we had tons of volunteers because I can't do it all by myself.
That's right.
And so the stretch was for me to rely on others to bring others into the fold, to learn how to coach them, to learn how to inspire them, to get them out to block walk and make those phone calls and to be positive and say, come on, you can do it. Because I do that to myself all day, right? Come on, Tammy, you can do it.
Yeah.
But to get an army around us, that I had to get others involved.
Okay,
so that was my push, going from me to a whole bunch of people.
So good. See, this is why I love talking to people, because most people just see it like a basic everyday thing, and I'm looking at the principles behind it. You're sitting here, number one, saying, I talk to myself, come on, Tammy, you can do it. Guess what? That's my self-talk, right? I don't allow the negative talk, because I will not be able to stay in that place where now for you, this was a pleasurable thing. I'm talking about a lot of people, they're in unpleasant seasons, right? Like they hate their job, et cetera, et cetera. So I love to talk to myself and say, nope, you will not get negative in any way. And I don't have a whole lot of problem with it, because I believe that what I'm doing is because God called me to it, right? So that's the best place you can be. Is one way to overcome the misery of where you're at is to really believe, did God call you to that? So that when it gets hard and tormenting, and maybe just lovely pleasure all the time, like you, bless the Lord.
No, it's not all the time.
Okay, she was happy all the time. But in those hard times, you can pump yourself up and say, come on. That's a principle. You just shared such a powerful principle. And you say it's type A, but you know what it is? It is type A to some degree, but honestly, it's a leader within. The leader within just said, come on, you got this. Because you don't necessarily have a leader to tell you that, because Chuck shouldn't tell you that.
Right.
Your inner leader said, come on.
Right.
And then what did you say? And in return, I turned around and I inspired others.
Right.
Principle number what? 10 already? We're like at 10 principles already. You've only been here for 5 minutes. What do you think of all this? Is that not awesome? Like you're stirring something in somebody. And this is why I tell you, Tammy, we have great talks all the time. I tell you cannot minimize where you are and what you've done. You cannot. If you inspired people to go knock on doors, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think you can inspire me to go knock on a door.
I bet I could.
I don't know. Well, maybe you could, but in general, most people can't get me to go knock on a door. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know I'm going to have to do it one day for somebody, or whether it's myself or somebody, but honestly, that's not my favorite thing to do. And I got other things to do, like lots of them.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. So you have these beautiful giftings that are clearly coming through.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I know you believe it. So what was the most challenging thing? Because something can be pleasurable. I've said this before. Something can be pleasurable and bring you grief all at the same time. If we're honest, like some things are hard, but they're good because you are where you're supposed to be. What was there anything challenging, and how did it grow you? How do you feel about it?
Well, it's always challenging to be in a campaign because you're running against people.
Okay.
And it's always challenging to be at the polls with other people and you're trying to beat them and tell people that your guy or you are smarter than their person and you're better than their person. So yeah, it's a challenge to do that and stay friends with people, and that was challenging. It's always challenging, right? But we did it. We got through it. I mean, the worst part is just losing. I mean, how do you deal with that in campaigns? It's hard.
Good question, without revealing anything on Chuck, because that's his own journey. How did you deal with it? And did you really see it as a full loss? Or how does one who works so hard for, because see, here we go again. We're transferring these real life principles to other people's lives. They work so hard, and I've done this. I've worked so hard and not seen the results I want. So tell me about that.
There's a song, and I wish I could think of the name of it, but it always comes to mind, and it says, Lord, I know I heard your voice loud and clear, and I followed through. And then, I wish I could think of the song, but then, I don't understand. I know I heard you loud and clear. I followed through. I don't understand. I thought this was your plan. We've all been there.
Yes.
As women, as people, we've all been there. You followed your calling. You did everything you were supposed to do. You followed through, and then kaboom. So how do you deal with that?
Good question. That's what I want to know. Like, how does Tammy deal with it? How do you deal with it?
The first campaign that I was on was devastating when we lost, because that was the first one I'd ever been on. And we cried, and I cried, and we all cried, and it was tough. I mean, it hurt my heart because you put your whole self into it. But this time, of course we wanted to win. Of course we did. But this time I just took it in stride, and I just felt like, you know what, God, I've done everything you've asked me to do. You know, your work is under the Lord, and the results are up to you at the end of the day. And that's it. And at the end of the day, winning or losing in campaign is not going to affect my salvation. It's not going to affect my family. It's not going to affect my future. You know, Chuck's future, yes. But, you know, we lick our wounds and we move on.
Right.
So you just have to put it in perspective of, you know, we're only a speck on the earth for a little while, and these things are passionate and we care about them. But we just have to wake up the next day and go on with the next thing.
100%. And the thing that you brought up that I think is very, very accurate, but I think a lot of people don't, I wonder how much they've heard that it's okay. And the first thing you said was we cried. Do you know that most people step over that? Like they don't understand that the grief part of the loss is acceptable.
Yeah.
It's okay to grieve when you don't see the fruit of your labor.
Yeah.
At least the fruit of how you were measuring it, right? Because the Lord measures differently. We know that. And so it makes a difference. Do you allow yourself the process of grief? Coming from a more charismatic circle, I can tell you that my people are like, faith it up, suck it up, move, you know, just don't get emotional. No. Sometimes things hurt and you have to stop and acknowledge this hurt. This is why it hurt, but Lord, you and I, we're going to get together. We're going to get through it together. And not just you and I, but also the people that love me, the people I love, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So I think that is very important. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think people who, and I'm not even just talking about politics necessarily at this point, I'm talking about our lives as women mostly, but also as men. When something doesn't work, it's okay to grieve, but then what? How did you reset?
How did I reset? That night was difficult because we had a party afterwards, you know, and we had not won, so it's difficult, and you have to go through the stages of, okay, what did we miss? What did we do wrong? You know, you have to go through that checklist, you know, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful to the candidate. It's hurtful to the candidate's family. You know, it's hurtful to all the things I gave up. You know, my grandson's birthday party. You know, it's hurtful. But you just have to get up and get back on the horse and figure out, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do now?
Yeah.
You know, what do I do now?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I bet some rest was part of that.
Rest is part of it for sure.
Yeah. And then just finding a vision again, don't you think? Like, we have to go through the grief, we have to go through some rest, and then you have to go through realigning a vision for the next season.
Correct.
Tell me about that.
Well.
Oh, perfect. She's got more to say.
I've got my 5-year plan. I worked on that today.
Wow. Look at that. I did not know that, by the way. I did not know that.
I worked on a 5-year plan today.
Go girl.
Because there are certain goals that I want to see in McKinney politically. And I have decided I'm going to work very, very hard to achieve goals.
Wow.
Whether it's, well, I mean, I'm not going to reveal all of them, but.
Of course not.
There are certain things that I want to see in this city.
Amen.
And that I want to see in leadership in this city.
Good.
And I've got a plan to do that. And that's what I do, right? I see from A to B, how are we going to get there, and I break it down into a plan. So that's what.
Do you have some kind of template or something that you use, or do you just kind of get a notepad? How does Tammy Warren do that?
On an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
And a list.
Okay.
2024, I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it. 2025, I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Wow.
So it's just breaking down the steps. How am I going to get there?
Do you do it by month, or you just do it? You just say, these are the 10 things, and that's how we're going to...
Well, in my financial life, I do it by pay periods. I go from A to B by pay periods, and I have it all broken down into little cells on my spreadsheet. This pay period, I do this and this and this, and I have it all broken down to get to this goal. Politically, we have a PAC. We have McKinney Values PAC. We have board meetings once a month that I share my vision with everybody. And by the end of this year, I want X amount of members. I want X amount of sponsors.
That's good.
That's going to get us to a financial. Our goal, if we're going to see good conservatives on council, we have to get people through Leadership McKinney. We have to get people to run for boards and commissions. In order to get people on Leadership McKinney, we need money for scholarships. So that's kind of where I'm going. I'm trying to get more conservatives involved instead of just sitting back and complaining about the city.
That's good.
Get them involved, get them in leadership academies, and help pay for that for them. The McKinney Democrats give scholarships to that. We don't.
Well, we certainly need to. And by we, I mean you.
Yeah, I know.
But no, I mean, I'm being funny, but no.
That's one of the goals. That's one of the goals.
Good.
And if it's to be, it's up to me, right?
Yes,
Isn't that the motto?
100%. And I love how you break these goals down, and that's why I wanted to bring this up. How do you do this? Because I think, you know, it's funny. I'm very, very driven, sometimes to a fault. Like yesterday I was driving in my car and I was, my brain was going at 1,000 miles a second. And I had to finally stop myself and just put on some worship music so that I could realign to Jesus. Because Teresa's very driven and it's not always good for her, right? And it is sometimes. It is very much good for me. But it was consuming me. So I thought, I got to get back just at the throne of Jesus and just relax. So I put it on and I started to just feel the overwhelming peace of the Lord and just being like, it's okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to accomplish. But one of the things that I did, and this is nothing to brag about. Don't be so impressed so quickly. But I just grabbed a piece of white paper like this, and I literally because I was sitting at my desk and I just stapled it and wrote goals. It's the ugliest thing ever.
It doesn't matter.
But you know what? I was like this, and it's all the things that are in my head constantly roaming in my head, and I'm writing them down. But coming back to you. I love how you explained it because you said, I want to have this many members and doing that so we can have also people to run for boards. And what is that going to take? Well, we've got to train them. Well, what does that mean? That means scholarships. You worked,
right?
But you know what you did first, and I do this too, and I think this is a type A personality thing. I work different than people. I make people anxious because I'm a big picture person. So what I do is I take the big picture and then I work backwards. I never start with the little steps and then make it to the big. I look at the big and then I'm like, okay, what does it take to get to the big? And I work it backwards.
Exactly.
Right. And so I think that's wonderful and so encouraging so that people who are watching, once again, men, women, young and old, youth, young people, that they can look at this and go, okay, maybe there's something to this. I used to think like this was just some kind of gimmick. Write your goals down and you'll get. No, it's not a gimmick. At all.
And there is power in the written word. You have to two things. First of all, you need to keep a journal or a diary. I have a red notebook. I take to church and I take notes on the sermon, but I also write my thoughts down in it sometimes. So you have to have a diary or a journal of things that are in the past as they go, right? Yeah. Because you got to get all that out of your head. Don't put it all on Facebook. Don't. Get a journal,
for sure.
Something to write, because it has to come from your brain down to your fingers. It has to get out of your soul, right? So you need that kind of journal. And then you need, I don't care if it's white paper or whatever, write your goals down, work your goals. And sometimes you have to edit your goals, right? Because you'll be overwhelmed. We can't all do everything. What are you good at? Focus on what you're good at and your little things. And then leave in there, and this is important too, leave enough time in your life to enjoy life.
Amen. Say it again.
And leave enough time in your life to enjoy life.
Teresa is working on that.
Edit your goals.
Hey, yes.
Bring them down to something you can accomplish with friends, something you can do. And then the rest of the time, watch Netflix. It's okay.
That's so good. Okay, y'all, I hope you're listening to this stuff because this is good stuff. Edit your goals. Sometimes we're so uptight. We're like, can't do that because I haven't accomplished it. I can't. Like a book, when a book was terrible, I refused to not read it because how dare I not finish something? God forbid, right? Now I'm like, nope. This is time that I'll never get back. This writer is not great.
Right.
Moving along. Next book. And I'll be honest with you, it's still like on the inside, I have to fight that little controlling person that wants to tell me what to do all the time. But hey, you've got to edit some goals sometimes and edit things, edit life.
Edit your house.
There you go.
The Jones already won. Don't try to keep up with them. They won.
They already won. That's hilarious. That's so cute. The Jones already won, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's too cute. These, and then the other, did you say something else? I'm trying to remember. So you were like, edit the goals and then
leave enough time to enjoy life.
That is so important.
Family's important. Family. It's just sitting outside drinking a cup of coffee. Literally stopping and smelling the roses. Literally doing walk around your garden and enjoy your garden.
That's a big deal. A lot of people tell me I have a grace to do a lot. I'm so blessed. I have this enormous grace to do a lot. And I want to explain this concept a little bit. If you ever read the story where God takes from the spirit of Moses, he says, I'm gonna take from you the burden that I've given you, and he turns around and he shares it with 70 men. Think about that. Most people don't even understand what that means. Like, he's literally saying, I've put weight unto you that literally 70 men could have carried, and I'm taking it from you and spreading it out. I have a grace. I'm not saying I'm Moses, so don't freak out. But I'm saying I have grace to do a lot. And a lot of people will say, just get some rest. Everybody wants you to go rest. And I'm like, if you're tired, you go rest. Okay? I get rest. it's not necessarily the rest that I lack. It's the fun. It's the enjoying life.
Yeah.
Like I have to be so much more intentional about planning to do something fun. And I have forced myself, even the grocery store. I have this, I don't like the grocery store, but I have to minister to myself in the car and rebuke myself and say, you're going to enjoy it. Walk slowly. Look at stuff that's on the aisles. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to slow down. So this that you're saying, this is real. You get to have fun, but you get to work, but you should also have fun.
Well, there are seasons where we have to keep our nose to the grindstone, right?
100%.
There are definitely seasons in our life where we have to do
You
that.
couldn't have gone to have fun while you were doing Chuck's thing for the moment, like in that season.
Oh my gosh, but we're talking about Women's History Month. Okay, women, we're the worst about this, aren't we? We're the worst. We're expected to work full time, which I do. Yeah. We're expected the house needs to be clean. Oh my gosh, this is a whole other topic, but we're expected to do it all, and it's okay if you don't.
You know why?
It really is.
Because we can do it, and we do it well. That's why people expect us to do it.
But you know what? As women, we don't take care of ourselves. No. You have to take care of yourself first, and your spirit.
Yes.
You have to be happy and take care of your spirit.
100%. But I love the point you just made, because you're like, we do everything. Yeah, that's because we can.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. What else do you want to leave our audience with anything? I think we've had a terrific time. You've got some awesome principles that we were able to share out of your story. If a woman decides, and by the way, I favor women because I've had to fight hard as a woman, but I love to empower the brothers as well, right? That's, to me, it's a given. These are, God's creation, God's people. But my heart is really for women who are sitting back going, I have dreams, but what do I do? Like, what can she do?
Okay, are you talking about the woman right now who's got the littles at home and she's tired and she's busy and
that's a whole nother season and that's a whole nother talk. I'm talking about the woman who's at a place where she could, but she's got to put her mind to it and make some decisions. So what is a woman?
Well, I would say first of all, where do you want to go in life? What's your goal? What do you want to do? What do you want to be realistically? Where do you want to go and be? Write it down. Write down your goals, hobbies. Write down the things you want to invest your life in, and then take a hard look at that and say, okay, what is my passion? What is my heart? Because we only have so many years on this earth. What do you want to invest your time and your heart and your life in?
Amen.
And go for it. Do it. Don't waste another day. Don't waste another day.
That is so on top. One of the things that I pray is, first of all, one of the things I fear the most is not living the greatest life ever. I'm not kidding. Like, the Lord knows there's only two things on the top of and that's one of them out of the two. That speaks volume, right? So one of my prayers is, Lord, let me maximize my days. Let me maximize my years. I want to cap it out. Like, I want to cap it out. Don't you?
You want to go out in a blaze of glory. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. Like, I don't want to live a normal life. I'm sorry. Yeah. And maybe not everybody has that goal, and that's okay. God has put something different in you, but I know me. I want to make major changes for women.
No, I think that's a Christian attribute. Jesus said he came to give life more abundantly.
Amen.
If we're not the ones living the best life ever, then we're not doing it right.
Amen to that. That's right, girl. That is so right.
So, go for your goals, go for your dreams, but keep God first.
That's right.
Make sure your family's taken care of, because as women, that is our heart.
Right.
It's our
calling.
It's our calling,
it is
for sure. Mm-hmm. Make sure your family's taken care of. Make sure your house and everything's in order, and then go for it.
That's
Live
right.
your dreams. Make sure your husband's on board, your kids are on board, and then and step out in faith. Do it if you're called to do it. But leave the results up to God.
That's
because if he's calling you to run for governor, you might not make it, but do it anyway.
That's right. Hey, I love that. Aim high. Aim high.
Leave the results to God and be proud of yourself.
That's right. Hey, well, there you have it. You had just a few minutes with the fantastic Tammy Warren. Go check her out at McKinney Values Pack. And is that the website?
McKinneyValues.org.
McKinneyValues.org. You'll see it on the screen there. And hey, just remember, if you want to be inspired, go back and watch this from the beginning. There's principles throughout this entire segment for you to get going. We are celebrating women. We're celebrating the great work. Look, I'm excited, even just thinking about women voting, the fact that we can vote. I don't take that lightly. I don't even take that. Like, I think about, you know, the right that we didn't have, and then all of a sudden we're finally granted, which was ours anyway, but, you know, they finally got it together. So make sure you celebrate somebody who's done something good for your life. Remind those amazing women around you that you love them, that you cherish them. Tell them specifics on how it is that they've encouraged you. You need to, sometimes women are not told enough how much they mean to somebody and why. They may say to you, you're great, but they don't tell you how. Sometimes I just need to hear the how because it helps me keep going. I don't need to live off that compliment, but I sometimes need to hear, Teresa, you're on the right track, right? So God bless you, and thank you for coming on and inspiring the women.
Thank you.
We love you, and God bless.